Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the very best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
Oh my God.
Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped.
As the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA, ID Life provides its members with high-quality ingredients backed by pure science.
It's science.
Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with Dustin about how you can reach your goals today. That's rockinthatidlife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in their awesome tap room. That's Center Ice Brewery located in Midtown St. Louis. Let's go Blues! Oh boy, we have had a start to this show like no other. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 24 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're the often imitated but never duplicated. I don't think people would want to duplicate this show. The original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com. And get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745 and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their awesome tap room. We're broadcasting live on Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. This is franchise episode number 290 all-time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Curt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure for the next little while, we'll be talking St. Louis Blues hockey, along with special guest Benjamin Hochman from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. So we're looking forward to that. Probably the most impressive guest of the day on the show, probably. To interact with the show on social media, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for Let's Go Blues Radio on those platforms or go to letsgoblues.com, where you can also find past episodes of the show, browse the fan discussion forum, and visit our shop where you can get some awesome blues-themed t-shirts and stickers that help support the show. We're dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the show so you'll get notifications when we go live. Gentlemen, last week we went from 9 inches of snow during last week's show to today, which was a balmy 63, I think it was, or ish. So St. Louis weather is a lot like the St. Louis Blues, inconsistent.
Yes, and I'll add that we made the joke last week, and not really a joke. Curt is used to 9 inches. This is a week where I'm used to 0 inches. So there's that.
Are you in the doghouse? Are we going to go there? Are we going to go there right now? We're just going to do this.
I mean, we can if you want.
We have guests. We have a guest. What is?
We have a guest? I guess we do have a guest. So in terms of guests, you mentioned earlier that best of the day, right? In terms of all time, what would you say? Angela Sharp 1, Ben Hochman 2, and then Bernie Federko 3.
You know what? Erica Weston's up there too. I think Ben
I gotta
Hoffman
get Erica in there too.
and Erica Weston are tied. It's a tie, and then
it's a Mount Rushmore. You know, before
there it is.
That's right.
Right. Grant Fuhr, sorry, you're off the list. You're off
Grant didn't make it. Chris Kerber didn't make it. Yeah, sorry guys.
Ken Wilson.
Ken Wilson didn't make it.
Oh baby!
It's a tough list to make, man.
I'm saying. Yeah, so we late getting started. Apologize for those listening, if you're still listening or watching. Major technological differences with the show to begin, but such is life with a podcast. So we haven't had that in a while.
Unfortunately, that's the end of the show, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we're out of time.
We're out of time.
The official beers of episode number 290. I guess you can follow us on the Untapped app. My handle is at cprice12. Jeff's is at jponder94. Bill's is at Billy Blue Note 33. And I don't know, Ben, are you on Untapped? Are you like have not ventured into the dark web of social media? That is Untapped.
I do. I mean, at this point, I might as well be. I'm 40 years old. I might as well be 80 years old. I don't know what Untapped is.
It's basically an app for alcoholics that like to go on and just basically you take a picture of what you're drinking, you rate it, and you put it up, and people can see what you're drinking if you follow them. So
that's cool.
It is very fun. Yeah, it's neat. So
yeah, it's the app for all the people that got chased off Facebook for posting pictures of beer. That's really what it is.
Yep.
It's the parlor. There is no other part. There's no version of Untapped.
Don't please don't. Not with the parlor. Let's not get into that.
So we got myself, we got Jeff, we got Bill, and we got Ben Hochman from the Post-Dispatch, sports writer from the Post-Dispatch, local boy. Hometown St. Louis kid.
Are we going to do beers, or are you just going to announce we have beers?
Well, Ben has a beverage. I figured I would let the folks know who he is before we just say, "Hey, Ben, what are you drinking?" People are like, "Who's Ben? Ben who? I don't know. Did you introduce him? I don't know." So, so anyway, welcome to the show, Ben.
Thank you.
All right.
I think the question is, what are you drinking, Ben?
Yeah. What do you guys drinking, Ben?
Well, I haven't opened it yet. I can't decide. It's kind of like a vintage wine. When do you open it, right? This is my Nelly Budweiser.
I like it.
So
is that a pint? That's a pint, right? Or not? That's more than a pint. What is that? 20 ounces? 20 ounces?
Pink juice is what it is. 20 ounce, I think.
20 ounces. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know what you do? I used to collect beer cans before when we moved houses a while back. They got lost in the move. I had a bunch of cool beer cans, but what you did, you punch a hole in the bottom to keep the top intact. So you can then drink the beer if you'd like or whatever. And I actually had a Blues Stanley Cup Pepsi can on my shelf over here in my studio, and I'm working on my computer one day, and all of a sudden I hear this. And it is leaking. It sprung a leak out of the side. A pinhole. It was just spraying on the wall. I was like, "What is that?" So yeah,
not good.
No, not good at all. Not good at all. So okay, Bill, what are you drinking?
I am. I went local. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to Center Ice quick enough before the show since we're announcing our new sponsorship with them. So I decided to just go local with something I had in a perennial Sump Imperial Coffee Stout. And it's a beauty.
It's a beauty. Very nice.
It's a beaut. Well, me. I'm gonna go with the single speed this week. Was that what I had last week? I can't even remember at this point. Days are just blending together. But single speed ale brewed with jasmine. Not sure what jasmine is, but I don't know, maybe something from Aladdin. I don't know. But apparently it pairs well with poultry and I can't even say that. Some kind of cheese. Camembert cheese? All right. Awesome. But great stuff. One of my favorite sipping beers. Great year-round beer. Awesome in the winter, awesome in the summer. Great stuff from Four Hands.
I would have loved to have gone with a Center Ice beer, but I am all out, actually. I went there this last weekend to watch the Blues and Sharks, but I didn't bring it home with me. But I do have here a fairly local O'Fallon, Missouri beer, Blackberry Macaron Ale, which... I don't know. We're getting to the point where this isn't really beer. I mean, it's ale. It's beer. It's good. It's purple. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of purpley, but it's almost like it's a very fruity beer. It's good. I like it, but it's kind of like a Stephen Walden thing going there, like a 3D blackberry thing on the bottle, on the label. So anyway, quite good.
Yeah, that was the straggler of the cookie tin pack.
It's good. Yeah, that's how I got it, in the cookie tin pack, right?
Yeah.
Did you get the cookie tin pack, Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you? I think my favorite was the peanut butter.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, peanut butter, and actually made it with or drank that with some Thai food one night. It was amazing. So highly recommend it.
We have a guest, as we mentioned earlier, Ben Hochman from the Post-Dispatch, sports writer from the Post-Dispatch. Jeff, I believe you've got the questions here for Ben. So
yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
First of all, Ben, great having you on the show. You know, we appreciate you sticking around for the issues we had going here, but we, you know, again, not to completely stroke your ego here, but you know, we're all big fans of the work you do. Love the baseball work especially, but obviously the hockey stuff too. And again, we talked about this before the show started. St. Louis boy. You left for a little while. You went and covered. You wrote in New Orleans. You wrote in Denver. So very cool. Always good to have a good local boy come back writing about the teams here. So love having you. Thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm excited about this. Thanks for your kind words. Yeah, let's talk some St. Louis sports.
Of course. So I got to ask, first of all, before we get into St. Louis sports, I do have a couple things I wanted to ask you about going to school at Wazoo, School of Journalism, of course. What was the hangout that you went to mostly when you were in Columbia?
That's a great question. So I was there from 1998 to 2002. So if I can do this correctly, Monday night was George's. I'll accelerate this. Wednesday night was Fieldhouse. Thursday, I didn't go every night all school year. I'm saying when I was to go out on a Wednesday, it would be to Fieldhouse. Thursday to Harpo's. Friday to Fieldhouse. Saturday night was date night. I remember that was people say that's when you take someone out on a date. So Saturday night was video game night for me.
I am with you on that 100%. No, I did not go to Mizzou, but lots of friends who did and visited. I dated a girl who was there for a long time and visited Columbia pretty much every weekend for so it's like literally I saw the same people in Columbia and they'd be like, oh, so what program you taking? What classes you in? I actually don't go here. I go to community college out in St. Charles. One of my favorite places was Fieldhouse, Harpo's, Deja Vu. Was that the name of the little dance comedy club?
Harpo's,
yeah, I went there a lot. Of course.
I think Deja Vu was a strip club in Carbondale when I went to school.
Was it?
It might have been actually. I think it was a strip. Were you a fan of the Shakespeare's Pizza there in Mizzou? Yeah.
I like it a lot. I don't say it's the greatest pizza in the United States. However, I do say that Booch's Burgers in Columbia, Missouri is the greatest burgers in the United States. I love that place so much. In fact, I proposed marriage there to my wife. The person said yes. Said yes. So,
what about were you more Shakespeare's or G&D's?
Oh, I'm Shakespeare's. Definitely. And there was a Domino's as well. I don't know if you've heard of that one. I don't know, that might just be a Columbia place.
They actually sold Shakespeare's would freeze their pizzas and ship them. And I know in Edwardsville for a while there was a shop, a small store that sold frozen Shakespeare pizza from Mizzou. They've since closed, but I had it a couple times. It was pretty good. It was good. Yeah.
Not bad.
There's a great comment here in the YouTube chat, Curt, that you should check out that I'm not going to read on air, but Brandon Toma, nice work.
Brandon
makes
Toma.
A comment about Toma, yeah, Brandon Toma.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna. What's the line? You're suspended for 2 weeks' time. Is that the line?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're suspended for 2 weeks' time. We're writing you down in the suspension log. Yeah. Yep.
Won't steal that gig though.
We won't do that. But
3 weeks time. 3 weeks time.
Yeah, 3 weeks time. Yep. So again, you went away to you left after college. You went on to New Orleans. You went and worked in Denver. Worked for the Denver Post, a very well known publication out there. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, you wrote a very awesome book, and this is something I actually heard of years ago and never have the chance to read. And I think I'm gonna have to do it now that we've got you on the show. Fourth in New Orleans. That's an interesting book for anyone who doesn't know about that one. It's a story about Tulane University's 2005 football season played after Hurricane Katrina. What was it like writing a book like that after such a tumultuous time there in New Orleans?
Yeah, that was a fascinating opportunity as a storyteller. I mean, look, these guys, I mean, they're big, tough football players, but they're really, a lot of them are still teenagers, 18, 19 years old. They're from New Orleans. Their homes are gone. They're not with their families. They're displaced with their football team, and they played 11 games in 11 cities in 11 weeks. And it was just crazy psychologically, and there was still that passion for New Orleans, though. I learned a lot about athletes and pride and perseverance interviewing these players for that book.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I know that it can be purchased on Amazon for anybody who is interested in that one. Again, it's called Fourth in New Orleans. Is there a better site for them to visit to purchase that for you, Ben?
Just come by the house. You'll be...
Okay. So he's at 2187. No, I'm just kidding.
No, Amazon's great. Amazon's great.
Amazon's good. Okay. So, again, moved on to work in Denver as well. And I wanted to ask you just about, in general, grow up here in St. Louis, following the Cardinals, the Blues, the Rams at that time as well. I don't know if you were into soccer, but the Ambush. And then all of a sudden, you're moving on to covering other teams, other sports. I know that you got into basketball. I don't know if you were into basketball before you moved from St. Louis, but what was it like, kind of growing up thinking, I'm going to be, because again, I had a very similar upbringing where I told myself I was going to be a blues writer. That was going to be my career. For you, I'm sure it was similar. So when you realized you had to leave and take a job elsewhere, what was that like for you to kind of make that decision?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, like, I'm very fortunate to be in this business. It's hard to get in this business and to, get your foot in the door. I mean, there's only a certain amount of teams, which means there's only a certain amount of writers, there's only a certain amount of websites and newspapers, etc. So when I was offered jobs in New Orleans and then Denver, it was like, take them, man, take them. So I never thought that I would come back to St. Louis. It was just kind of like, that was home. Those were my teams. Toasted ravioli was my thing. Becky, the Queen of Carpets, my middle school crush, the whole thing. and that was that. And then I was promoted to columnist. I was fortunate to have that happen at the Denver Post in 2013. Perfect timing, right when the Broncos got Peyton Manning and got real good and went to the Super Bowl. And then when Bernie Miklasz, the great sports writer, went to radio only here in town, I was fortunate to be hired to do that job for the Post-Dispatch.
Yeah, again, having you come back was great. So when you made the decision to come back, I mean, what was your family's reaction? What was it like for you to say, "Hey, look out, St. Louis, Ben Hochman's back, baby"?
I mean, it was nuts. It was just something I never thought I would live in St. Louis again. And suddenly all these, it's kind of, I'm trying to think of a movie comparison. It's like people I hadn't seen in 15, 20 years were suddenly in my life every day at the coffee shop. Some guy from high school, some kid from preschool, some teacher that's now retired, and I see them all the time. All these people from my past are like part of my new norm. It was rather interesting and a bunch of fun. And of course, I mean, at the end of the day, I grew up on the Blues, I grew up on the Cardinals, and now I get a chance to write about them and share my opinions about them professionally. I'm very blessed and very fortunate.
So before we get into talking St. Louis sports, which is obviously why we have you on, we got a couple comments here in the YouTube chat. F117 Nighthawk, good friend of the show here. She's asking, she says she's from Tulane, and she actually lives in Denver, which is, yeah, wow, hilarious. Bill responded to her and said, "We did market research, and you are now our target demo, Nighthawk." So that does seem to be the case with this guest. But she wants to know, how do you pronounce New Orleans?
Oh, well, first of all, it depends on how many Abitas I've had, I suppose. But
Purple Haze.
I mean, I say New Orleans. I don't say New Orleans. It's not New Orleans. And then if I'm trying to, like when I took my wife there on our first trip, trying to impress her with kind of a little accent to say New Orleans, and kind of get that round and if you will. But but no New Orleans. That's kind of like the tell. Like, did you see that movie? Inglourious Bastards, where he's help me out here if one of the three of you has seen the movie, but he's in a bar and he's undercover and it's going great for like so long, and then they said, like, how many beers do you want? And he says like 2.
Three. It's 3, but it should be 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when they knew he was a fraud. Like, so if you could hang out in New Orleans for days, but the minute you drop a New Orleans, you're a Yankee. Get out of here.
You named a beta name drop. I had to run a half marathon down in Baton Rouge, and a few years, 3-4 years ago, was it? And I had quite a few a beta purple hazes after the race. Yeah, that was a good time.
I've got a Beta Purple Haze thing on the wall over here, but now I'm afraid if I take the camera out.
No.
Just hear me out. I swear to God.
Believe you, I don't want to touch technology. I just want to, if it's working now, I don't want to touch it. It's working right now, so let's not touch anything.
So over time, obviously you moved here to St. Louis, as we said. Now you're covering your St. Louis sports teams. And again, I want to draw reference to the fact that there's another book you wrote in your time in Denver, 11-11, a hometown hero, LaRusse's last ride, and Miracle World Series for the St. Louis Cardinals. Like you, I experienced this from afar. I lived in Texas when they won this World Series, but so I know that was interesting for you. But being able to move back right about the St. Louis Cardinals, now you are deep into St. Louis Cardinals lore. I have to ask you, I know we're a Blues podcast. What are the Cardinals' chances this year? In a nutshell, give me what's going to happen.
Well, I think it's as simple as this. I was an optimist that they could still win the division before he happened. You know, I mean, a lot of things had to go right, and they still have to go right. The idea is this: they're very strong. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, but they're very strong with pitching and the bullpen and the defense. That their hitting was abysmal. Like, I've been on softball teams that have higher OPSs, like that would have higher OPSs if playing against the National League. But the reality is now with Nolan Arenado, we can dream a little bit here in St. Louis, right? I mean, here's a guy that's around a 4 or 5 WAR player. Suddenly, I mean, you're a team that you think can win the high 80s wins. Now you're in the low 90s or whatever it is. He just really lets you, I guess, imagine more. And also his existence does a lot of things to the other key hitters because he gives protection for Goldschmidt and he takes some of the pressure off DeYoung and the pressure off the kid Dylan Carlson. So, I mean, on paper, the Cardinals are not better than the Dodgers. They're not better than the Padres. But I feel like they're strong enough to, if they get in this postseason tournament, which I think they can, maybe some fun could happen.
With the acquisition of Arenado, did you have any interesting conversations with any previous coworkers or contacts in Colorado?
So this is kind of neat in this regard. As a columnist there, I was there for Arenado's first few years with the Rockies. So I didn't get to know him like really well, but I interviewed him probably, I don't know how many times, 15, 20 times, and got to know his feel for baseball, what made him tick. I did one piece where I compared him to Brooks Robinson. So I got Brooks on the phone and talked to him about Arenado. That was like a cool experience. So I was definitely well versed in Arenado when the trade happened, and I was able to utilize that and write some columns for the Post-Dispatch with some insight, if you will. And I got the old manager Walt Weiss on the phone, which was fun. I was born in 1980, so like anytime you can speak to someone who you assume is essentially like just coming off a baseball card, it's like the person on the baseball card is talking back to you. That's pretty cool. So talking to Walt Weiss was awesome about Arenado for the Post-Dispatch.
Who have you been most starstruck by? For me, I've told the story on the show. One time I was walking down the bowels of, well, at the time, Scott Trade Center, and walks by me coming around the corner is Wayne Gretzky. And that was the one time in my professional career where I said nothing. I couldn't even talk. I was like, oh my God, that's Wayne Gretzky. And he gave me the weirdest look. Like, and then I think he realized, like, oh, he's just one of those guys that is just like idolized me growing up. So he's probably just, I'm going to be nice to him, even though he's a complete freak. Have you ever had a moment like that in your professional career?
Well, again, the timing, right? So when I moved to New Orleans in 2002, they got their NBA team that very year. So basically our sports editor, even though I was literally the newest guy on staff, he was like, if you've got ideas to cover the NBA, like story ideas, we'll get you credentialed for the games. So I'm like, okay, kid in a candy store. So I went to the majority of the games, and that was one of the years Michael Jordan was on the Wizards. And I went to the Wizards morning shoot around and got to talk to Michael Jordan. So like at that time, like, I mean, I was 22 years old, so I'm more or less like still in college. You know what I mean? Like I'm still on that hangover from April and in second semester. It hasn't even ended yet. And here I am chit-chatting with MJ. That was pretty surreal.
F117 Nighthawk in the chat here. Honestly, your pieces were great on Arenado after the trade. So wanted to read that because I thought that was very nice of her. So again, we're a blues podcast. Let's talk a little blues with you here real quick. You said in your latest, by the way, I want to promote 10 Hochman. We'll give you some time at the end to mention that again. But 10 Hochman is your 10 a.m. You post video, right? Of whatever's going on. That's every weekday, correct? In St. Louis sports. Yeah. So you mentioned on your last one, I think that was actually this morning, that last night, well, it had to be this morning, that the Blues' fourth line was their best line last night. I don't want to people tune into that. I'm not going to make you exactly quote what you said, but kind of elaborate on that. What did you think of the Blues' fourth line last night?
Well, I mean, it kind of just sums up the state of the Blues. I mean, I didn't mean it to like knock the fourth line per se. I mean, those fellas played hard, and De La Rose had 4 shots, 4 hits, was very active. He's got cool hair, by the way. But I mean, clearly, if your fourth line is the standout line in a game, you're probably not doing well. And they didn't score a goal in the game. So, I mean, we know the Blues have a lot of issues. I mean, I joked in the video, like, if you want to read, and I joked in the video, and then I even said in the video, and I'll say it here, like, the joke actually isn't that funny or clever. But if you wanted to read the Blues injury list, just get the Stanley Cup and read the names off that, because it's basically half the Stanley Cup team is currently injured. So yeah, I mean, there's reasons why some of the other lines aren't clicking well, but you got to put some pucks in the net.
Yeah, agree. And we'll definitely be talking about that a little later in the show, so stay tuned, folks. But also, wanted to ask you about your take on this team. Now, obviously, going into the season, high hopes here for Blues fans. And I think a lot of people thought that they're at least as good as they've been the past 2 years, if not better, with some additions they made. But here we are, a couple games into the season. Well, more than a couple games, obviously. But, are they a real contender in your eyes, or are they a pretender? What do you think they need to improve on? Do you see this team going deep? Your overall thoughts on the state of the St. Louis Blues right now?
Well, the state of the St. Louis Blues right now on this day, February 23rd, is not that optimistic about the literal human beings playing hockey last night and the coming days. But I remain optimistic about this Blues team when they get healthier because of the personnel. I mean, again, they're probably going to have to figure something out with defense, with defensemen, right? I mean, if Paryako's back thing keeps him out for a long time, and Vince Dunn looks deplorable, and now Gunnarsson's out for the year. I mean, can you acquire a player? Is there a move to make there to bolster your blue line? But I remain optimistic about the team in general because I feel like at their best, they're a contender. So once they get to their best, like hopefully for them, it'll be in the summer.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And who surprised you a lot this season? You talked about the fourth line. I think De La Rose, for a lot of us, I'm sure we'll be mentioning him later in the show as well. A guy who's really stepped in and played great. But, obviously anybody else you want to mention who surprised you a lot this season, whether it be in a positive or a negative manner, anyone that you can think of off the top of your head?
Sure. I mean, it's almost cliche to say, but like Jordan Kyrou, he's pretty good. And, I wrote a piece about him the other day that I enjoyed writing. I interviewed an actual speed skater about him and his abilities to move up and down the ice, and it is just like otherworldly speed. But again, like I feel like you guys are so savvy with the Blues, and so are your listeners, that the things I'm saying, like you already know. But like the reality is that Kyrou is playing such a versatile game now. It's not just the speed. He's getting in the corners. He's unafraid more times than he's not. And those are the things that Berube likes. Those are the reasons why he's going to stay out there. And if you look at the stats, I mean, he's close to a point per game. That ain't bad.
I also wanted to ask you, and again, we mentioned earlier that, we love your writing, we love what you do. And it's funny because, again, somebody who, I wrote, not for the Post-Dispatch, but for KSTK.com and other spots. And you always try to find that interesting take that nobody else is taking when you're writing. And I know how difficult that can be. And you mentioned earlier your Brooks Robinson comparison to Nolan Arenado. You did something very similar to that recently in something you wrote. You compared Justin Falk to Marshall Falk. Former St. Louis Rams running back who was just beloved here in St. Louis. How much fun is that kind of thing for you? I mean, and how unnatural is it to do and then do your best to make it natural and flow naturally? I mean, what was it like writing a piece like that?
Well, I mean, it's ridiculously fun. I mean, I work hard, don't get me wrong, but I really feel like I've won some sort of St. Louis golden ticket, I suppose, or I guess it would be like gooey butter ticket, or the image. I don't know, but I'm very fortunate to get to write about these teams that I grew up watching. So I guess I have this perspective, and moreover, I feel like I'm writing for the girls and guys that are like those watching this. Is this a show, a podcast? What are we right now? What are we on right now?
We're a YouTube, Facebook live video stream right now, and it's a podcast released tomorrow. Yep.
Yes. So people tuning into that, I mean, like we all had similar experiences. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really fun to be able to do something like, oh my God, Falk. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like anybody could give him or her 5 hours, a laptop, and an interview with Justin Falk. And they could probably write an okay piece about Justin Falk. So it's like, it's up to me. It's like, what can I possibly do to like take it to another level to make the readers of the Post-Dispatch be like, all right, this is worth my time. And so with the Falk piece, I wanted to, I believe it was 4 or 5 specific things he did on the ice, and they had nothing to do with the goals that he'd scored. And oh, by the way, he'd scored more goals than I believe 13 teams' defenses had scored up to that point. And I just wanted to show different dynamic, versatile aspects of Falk's game. And as I'm writing it, I'm like, you know who else was dynamic and versatile and wore yellow and blue and played in St. Louis? And why am I talking in this voice? But of course, Marshall Faulk. So I was able to do a little thing like that. And again, like I said, hopefully that was a more enticing read than what I could have done, which has been like, Justin Faulk is really good this year. Look at his stats; they're great.
Yeah, and I think that's what people appreciate most about columnists such as you. You mentioned Bernie Miklasz earlier, somebody I grew up, I'm sure same as you, grew up just idolizing, reading every post they posted. People that have fun with their jobs and just, try to find the lighter side, but also tell a very intriguing story. And I think that that you do a great job of it, as well as other guys. I mean, obviously we know that Thomas that you work with, he has to, he has to do the gamers as well, but I know he tries to find the happier side of life so that way he can, not get so mundane. Again, front of the show, Jeremy Rutherford position. Yeah. He had that before. Jeremy's told me before how it can get so monotonous, and to find the happiness into what you do. So we appreciate that in your writing. I think it comes through. I want to tell our listeners right now that are listening live, we are wrapping up here with Ben. So if you have any other questions, please send them over. This one, again, comes from our friend. Well, first of all, Brad Warthog in the chat says, cool to see Hochman on the chat. So very cool that everyone's loving it. So good to have you on, Ben. F117 Nighthawk says, do the players seem optimistic about this season?
That's a great question, because the first thing that came to mind was that quote today from Ryan O'Reilly, he said something along the lines of we need to learn to lose together as a team before we can win together as a team. And it kind of sounded like Petro November 2018, if you will. So, I think they're still optimistic. I think they realize how many key players are out right now. But I guess what's more infuriating is when you see the people you depend on not doing well. And that's why when Zach Sanford or Dunn are playing the way they're playing, it can be really frustrating, because you're supposed to rely on these guys and you're hoping that they take the next step for the team.
So we got a comment here from Jason in the Facebook chat, actually. Says, Gooey Butter Ticket had better become the name of some sort of promotion for the show. I'm all for that. Ben, we're going to steal that from you. I love it.
Do it.
I wanted to ask you it again.
If I may, just hijack your show, by the way. Speaking of Willy Wonka, the other day we had our daughter, and she's a baby. So she's a baby, right? And she's eating and at the high chair. And normally she doesn't want the food, but this particular day I put it in her mouth and she ate it. And before I could get more, she banged the table, like basically like more. And I'm like, who is this, Augustus Gloop? And she's like, Mom!
Nice.
I looked at the video of Augustus Gloop and showed it to my wife, and we had a good laugh.
That's good.
That's a reference. That's awesome.
That is a great reference.
I'm just glad that all of us got it. Ben, I wanted to ask you a little bit more of a personal question about here, as we wrap up with Ben. I wanted to ask you about, and obviously Jim Thomas could probably speak to this more, Derek Gould, but it affects you as well. So again, I've talked on this show. I've given a little insight to people what it's like in the press box, what it's like in the post-game scrums. But obviously things have changed dramatically in the past year. So how has COVID-19 affected what you do in your day-to-day? Now, obviously, we're not talking about the longer breaks and the weird off seasons we're having, but in terms of your day-to-day when the sport's going, what's it like for you that's different from it was a year and a half ago?
Man, I mean, there are a lot of Zooms now, and it kind of comes back to, well, basically to answer your question quickly, the idea is that the access is limited. a lot of sports writing, as you recall from going into the Blues dressing room, is kind of getting to know the players and building a rapport and picking their brains and trying to get some details or information that the other guys or girls in there have not yet got, that will thus enhance your story. Well, these days we can go to the games, and I've sat up in the press box this year at Enterprise, but we're not allowed to go down to the dressing room. So basically everything is on Zoom. So basically it comes down to like, how can I come up with something outside of the box or more dynamic? Because Jeremy Rutherford's getting these quotes, Lou Korak's getting these quotes, everybody's getting the same quotes. So yeah, there's definitely that challenge, but the cool thing about Zoom is because you can do it at your house. Like there'll be days where I'll just sit on the couch, and if it works out timing wise, I'll talk to Conzo Martin at 9:30 and Travis Ford at 10:45 and Harrison Bader at noon, and you can knock them out and gather the quotes, and so in that regard, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of sports writing is developing relationships and developing rapport with the players, and that's not part of it anymore.
Well, I would imagine some of it is some of what you're experiencing now with Zoom. I'd imagine that's a lot of that would go away when you guys could do more in-person stuff. But I'd imagine a lot of people, in a lot of cases, would probably still use Zoom for certain interviews and quotes and things like that. So I guess it's a positive, because it's just one more way to gain access to someone.
Yeah, that's a good point. No question. Yeah. But yeah, if you're trying, also the one-on-one interview, like the sit-down interviews, if you will, the rare times you get to, I don't know, go to lunch with a guy or a girl if you're interviewing them and really, really get them to open up to you and give you some great stuff. I mean, those are how some of the best pieces are written, just from the access, and the access is limited now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that back in my day when I was going and I wanted to interview, Patrick Berglund or Ian Cole or whoever, I would walk up to Dan O'Neill, and, they'd always have the numbers up, you could talk to 42, 20 and 27 and, Backus, Steen, Petrangelo. But I would always, you got to know the guys. You'd walk up to Dan O'Neill and say, hey, I want to talk to Patrick Berglund. And he'd say, okay, yeah, let me go get him. I mean, how does that work now? If you want to talk to a specific player, do you have to maybe email them? Or, I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, Bader, I mentioned him kind of in that little anecdote there. Like, I wanted to interview him for something kind of off the wall. So yeah, I emailed the Cardinals PR people, but I didn't get Bader one-on-one. They just put him on the Zoom for everyone to interview. So I had to ask my kind of off-the-wall question about Ken Griffey Jr. and playing center field to him, and all the other writers got the quote too. And it's not. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, we're not curing cancer, though. We're not building huge buildings. We're just writing sports stories, so it's not the end of the world. But it is kind of frustrating when you're trying to do something specific and some of your competition has access to it.
So my mom is in the Facebook chat. She's become a regular on the show. So Ben, say hi to my mom if you wouldn't mind. There you go. Yep. There you go, Mom. She's I don't know if she's ever read anything you've written, but let's just say she's a fan. Brad in the YouTube chat says it's refreshing to have your input over at STL today. Again, Nighthawk adds and says, honestly, COVID has made me see who is really passionate about what they do. Some reporters have seemed so stale. It's great seeing what people are coming up with. I imagine that includes you. So, again, I think people are really enjoying the stuff you've been putting out. So I want to go ahead and say, speaking of stuff you're putting out, Ben, 10 Hochman, tell us about that. How can people view it? What are people going to get when they want to watch 10 Hochman?
Well, I don't want to say it's Emmy Award winning or worthy broadcast, but I would say it's like Emmy nominated, I suppose.
Is it it's a Musial Award winning nominated kind of a thing?
Yeah, maybe more of a Musial or yeah. So basically, the idea is like, how can we provide unique content to sports fans from our website? And we came up with the idea of this. I mean, you're basically on 10 Hochman right now. This is the set, and every day at 10 a.m. 10. My name's Ben, so 10. However, I got a lot of emails saying like they spelled your name wrong, multiple times on this email.
You said your name wrong.
Yeah, you said your name wrong.
He doesn't even know.
It's very simple. I just want to provide some fun commentary. So I start the show with some celebrity birthdays, and if it's like Ric Flair's birthday is on Thursday, so I'll wear my Ric Flair t-shirt and woo very loudly. Friday is Michael Bolton's birthday, so I'll wear my Yes, I Have a Michael Bolton t-shirt, and I'll make some Office Space references probably, and then I'll just get into a St. Louis or national sports topic of the day. Like you mentioned, today was just about the Blues game the night before. Once we're done here, I'll probably go watch the tape of the Wazoo basketball game and talk about them in tomorrow's show. And then, but most importantly, we do the random St. Louis Cards card every day on the show, where I pick a card out of the hat and then say something I know possibly about the player.
The Whitey Herzog one was one of my favorites.
yeah. I think I have this is such a mess over here, but they have Whitey Herzog. I'll just reenact it. It was just him with like the card. That's the best picture
I saw. Yeah, I thought that a lot of certain baseball cards where there's like, that's the best picture they had for a lot of players. Like, really, that's the best one they came up with. Okay.
My buddy dropped this off. This is like a Tony Pena card. Like, this is the action shot. I don't know if you can see that. Like, he's just kind of like standing there after catching possibly a pop-up foul. So do they go through like dozens of Pena photos and like, this is the one?
Maybe there's different price levels for photos you can purchase as you're a card company, and they didn't want to spend a lot of money on that particular player. So okay, we'll use this level of photo. It's not a very high quality photo, so we'll just cheap out on that one and go with a. Yeah.
But if I may, my absolute favorite thing on the whole set.
Oh yes, I love this one too.
The Stanley Cup.
Nice. I like it.
For those of you on the podcast, it's literally a picture of Stanley from The Office on a cup, and so it's the Stanley Cup. I love it. Ben, by the way, real quick, before we let you go, Curt, did you find his Back to the Future reference I asked you about on his set?
I have not had a chance to look.
Look over
it's too small.
His left shoulder. Look over his left shoulder if you can. Bill, you see if I could literally his window on my 4-panel thing here is probably like 4 inches by 3 inches. So I'm trying to. I can't really make it out. That's something Bill's used to. He's just well, he can do that. I was gonna say you could just point to it.
Oh, it's a sports almanac.
It's nice.
Sports almanac.
I have now. What's inside? Is it the picture, the print, or is it
just a picture?
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually went as Marty McFly Halloween a couple times. Pretty extensive outfit, with the chalking jacket and everything.
Awesome.
And I made the sports almanac, and it's got all kinds of references to the movie, like from the Mayor poster and Ooh La La cover, all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. That's fun. I had fun with it. Love that.
He actually wore it on the show.
I did wear the jacket on the show.
You dressed it as it on the show once.
I did.
That was awesome.
Can I make a suggestion?
Surely.
Quick.
Sure.
Why don't you do a Back to the Future episode of this where you're dressed as Marty McFly talking about the 1985 Blues?
1985 Blues. Okay.
I like
yeah.
I like
Right. I'd have to go back and see. What interesting happened in '85 in St. Louis? Well, we can talk about it, whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, that was the year Louis. I just said Louis, Bill. How do you feel about that?
You did it. Oh my
I did
God.
it.
Wow.
This was a conversation last week, man. No, there was Liut was on the team. We had Federico, Sutter, right? So I'm sure there was some good stuff that happened that year.
That was a few years after the great season. What, 81 was that fantastic season? So
yeah.
No, that was the mediocre season, right before that crazy run in '86. So
yeah,
Gilmore was the up and coming player on that team, and it was Liut's last ride with the team. So
we should.
Sad season for me.
See, that's Liut being Bill's favorite goalie. Yeah, that's a great idea, Ben. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
I want to add real quick one more comment that we want to read here. Ben, you're fun to follow on Twitter, and my dad doesn't think you're fake news. Thanks for being amazing and keeping my family entertained. And I think we can all agree with that.
That's very nice of my sister to say that here.
Yeah, Julie Hochman. Wow. Okay. All right.
You didn't put that. You didn't make the connection there, Jeff, before you read it.
No, not at all. Ben, we want to ask you to share with anyone how they could find your work, how they could follow you on social media, and just again, how they can interact or follow 10 Hochman.
Yeah, that's awesome of you to do that. I mean, if you can't see it on the screen right there, at Hochman on Twitter, at HOCHMAN, at HOCHMAN, just follow, and you'll get a variety of St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Cardinals, Seinfeld references.
Awesome.
And there is a Larry David also over his left shoulder, which I love.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Ben, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll have to have you on again for a nice little extended interview, maybe in the off season sometime. But we really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I enjoyed it. Anytime. Let me know. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
I would love to switch it back over here, but I don't have access to my stuff. Ooh, maybe I do. It's coming back now. That's weird.
As you say that, you just had to tell it.
Yeah. Well, for those listening, we had some issues before the show, and let me. Whoops. And we didn't have a lot of luck with getting the show started on time. So and this is funny because I go to put up that graphic and it puts up the wrong one. There we go.
That's all right. Hey, that's beautiful. We'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I can get. There we go. No. This is good radio here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you need me to talk about one of our great sponsors?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that? We've got a number of them now to talk about, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the longest lasting one we have at this point, and that is we'll get to talking about a couple more, one that we added, but Manscaped.com, for those of you who have not heard us talk about and sing their praises, which probably is nobody at this point. Manscaped.com, anybody who wants to go on and try and maybe do a little bit of manscaping. And we actually had a friend of the show here in our YouTube chat, F117 Nighthawk, who we've referenced a couple times, went on and bought some things. And guess what? She's a lady. So obviously, I'm hoping that things are
womanscaping.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I don't know if she's gotten her things yet, but I mean, I'm hoping that she'll be able to speak to how great of products it is, even for the ladies, not just for men. And we've talked about the Lawnmower 2.0, which is something that helps you manscape throughout your body. Whether it's we talk on the show, we joke about it being below the waist, but I use it up top. I've used it on my chest a little bit. I've used it, whenever you get the stray hair here or there. I've used it on my stomach, and it's great. You can use it in the shower. It's got a great light on it. And then also, of course, you've got your awesome ball wipes, which are great. I know it's a silly name, but we've talked about it on the show before. If you wear deodorant, don't you want it down there to smell good too? Why just between your arms? So again, so many great products over at Manscaped.com. We recommend every little bit that they do. And of course, if you go on now, use promo code LGB for 20% off and free shipping. And again, we can't speak enough to how great they are. And their customer service is fantastic too. If you have questions, issues, they're always there to help. Again, that is manscaped.com.
I'm not going to touch anything else during the show in our interface here because stuff is going haywire. We're still live and it's still connected, but I'm not going to touch anything. Stuff is disappearing. Stuff is all over the place. I'm not going to touch. We're doing the show, so apologies.
We're doing it live.
Yeah,
Fuck
we're doing it live. Oh God. Okay. Today in Blues history, courtesy of that STL Blues history Twitter account, February 23rd, 2020. Is today's date, February 23rd, 1986. Doug Gilmour, his first career, and Mark Hunter, his second career, hat tricks against former Blues goalie Mike Lewitt, in the St. Louis Blues 8-2 win over the Hartford Whalers.
I hate you all.
Lewitt. February 23rd, 1991. Brett Hull hat trick in this game. It was his 100th. He scored his 100th point, and had a goal as well in his 13th consecutive game. How's it read? Brett Hull hat trick, 100th point, and scored a goal in his 13th consecutive game. I'm not sure what that means. Adam Oates had a 15-game point streak in this game, extended it, and then St. Louis Blues team record 8 wins at home in the 9-2 win versus the Boston Bruins. Anytime we can beat Boston and talk about it, in a Today in Blues history, I'm cool with. February 23rd, 2019, Jordan Bennington became the 6th goalie in NHL history to win each of his first 6 home starts with 31 saves, and then 5 shootout saves in a 2-1 win over the visiting Boston Bruins. Sammy Blais with the shootout winner in that game. So again, with the sticking it to Boston in Today in Blues history. Also, February 23rd, 2021, which is today, still celebrating the 2019 Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues over Boston. So there you have it.
By the way, talking about Manscaped, F117 says she's going to let us know about her product she bought. She did not buy the ball wipes, she says. Probably a good call. That might be one you don't need. Winning Unlimited.
That's good.
Curt, get us Car Shield sponsors.
They're signing everybody, so why not?
Let's do it. Car Shield. Maybe they'll have us in one of their commercials with O'Reilly and Maroon. And you know what? If they do, I can sit here and go, woo!
Jeez. The Blues topics from this show. Injuries for the St. Louis Blues. Good Lord. $33.2 million in injured players right now we have. If I can quickly run down the list and we can kind of just talk about anyone we want to talk about here. Bozak is out. Makes $5 million. He skated on his own today. He might be in the team skate tomorrow. So his return is unknown, but he might be back soon. Paryako, $5.5 million. His back is the issue. Unknown return. Hopefully he's not too far away. Schwartz.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to add with Paryako. This is something we speculated for a while. So, it's good. It's good that he's out of the lineup. I think they need to let him get right before they bring him back.
How many weeks ago was it where I was like, if he's not, he looks terrible. He looked not himself. He didn't look good. He was making too many mistakes. And I'm like, if he's hurting, which is the rumor, sit him down for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks until he's healthy, and then play him, because he was not. You put somebody else in there instead.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're not in danger of missing the playoffs. And if you've got a guy like a Paryako where you want still in the lineup, you're not really. I mean, I know that it's a shortened season, anything can happen, but let the guy rest. There's no point in playing him right now if he's not 100%. Get him right. Get him going, and if he comes back in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and he looks like himself from last year and 2 years ago, then guess what? You made the right freaking decision. So we'll see how that goes.
And every time I hear about the Bozak injury, it just pisses me off. It'd be nice if he's back in lineup for when we play Vegas coming up for the Mark Stone matchup.
Yeah, and let him be the guy that you don't want him getting into a scrum because of the concussion issue. But man, just once it would be nice to see a two-handed swing. I saw a GIF earlier tonight of Derek Sanderson back in the day, just jumping over top of the net with a one-handed chop at defenseman on the lead behind the net. Do it, Tyler.
You're not talking.
I think a slap shot was that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. It was inspired the scene in Slapshot.
So you don't mean McSorley on Brashear kind of deal?
That. No.
That kind of a swing.
No, just a scare tactic. You don't actually want to make contact.
Well, that happened in Russia, Canada, in the Canada Cup. Or was it Canada Cup or the Summit Series? In
Series,
72 was
72? 76.
72.
Well,
72.
But was it with an official?
94.
One of the Canadian players went to the official and did that. The whole bring a stick back, and he comes down, he stops. And it's like, holy hell. And he did not. I think he was suspended the next game. I think that was it, though. It was very light. Can you imagine that happened today? Whew.
I saw a game that I think NHL Network ran. I don't want to say it was during the offseason, where there was literally a guy who cross-checked the ref because he was pissed at him. And I'm like, wow, could you imagine that right now?
Dennis Weidman.
He'd be banned. He'd be banned from the NHL.
Dennis Weidman. he laid out the ref.
Winning Unlimited adds on the YouTube chat. I wonder how far fans are down on the depth chart. With that hustle, Winning Unlimited, if anybody's ever played with our friend Adam, with the hustle you have, you can't be that far down the lineup. I would start, showing up the practice seat, showing them what you got.
You talking like he's dealing behind the arena, or is playing on the ice?
Both.
Like the hustle he's got. Both? Like the hustle he's got going. I'm talking street lingo, Jeff.
I got you. Street lingo from 1974. I get you.
Right. It still applies. It's still a thing. It's an older code, sure, but it's an older code, sir, but it checks out.
But it checks out. Nice reference. Thank you.
I only botched up the.
I love me some Star Wars references.
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out.
Don't fire. There's no life form on board. What?
Yeah,
why
right.
are you still not firing?
So why not fire anyway? Yeah.
Yeah, just
who cares?
One shot. That's all it takes.
You're the Empire. Just destroy whatever you want. You're destroying planets, but you can't destroy the little escape pod.
Come on. Are you siphoning fucking ammo? What's the deal here?
Speaking of Star Wars, not to get too far off, but have you viewed the Harmony's despecialized Star Wars? Ponder. Have I told you about that at all?
No.
Real quick thing. You can download it online, but you have to jump through some hoops to find it because it's fan recreation of how Star Wars was originally shown in theaters, because that copy does not exist anymore. The DVDs, the Blu-rays, the stuff you can buy that's released by Disney now and by Lucasfilms before, it was not the original, because they changed it so many times. They added things, they took things out. The original version was shown in theaters in 1977, is not available to buy. But fans put it together using all like laser disc and DVDs and stuff like that, and they spliced it together, and it's HD quality, and it's the original Star Wars as close as you can get to it.
Are you telling me that Hayden Christensen isn't at the end of Return of the Jedi in the original?
No, it's not. No. The actor, the character who kills younglings is not celebrated at the end of Return of the Jedi. So.
Oh man, that's crazy. Why not?
Spoiler for those who don't see it.
You're my friend, Curt. So why don't you just send me some links?
I actually have it. I have it on my. It's on Plex. Bill.
Even better.
Hey, guess what I'm doing this weekend?
It's huge though. It's really big. It's like 30 gig or 40 gig. So I'd have to have a Blu-ray burner to get it to you. But anyway, I'll work it out. You could, or you could. I can tell you where to find it. That works too. Harmony is despecialized. There's also another one too out there. I think it might be updated. Anyway, back to
this
hockey.
Will be deleted. Right, this will be deleted from the podcast version.
I don't know. It's what I'm not. You can whatever. Maybe I don't know. If I get in trouble, I'll get a call from Disney.
Real quick, we mentioned earlier with Ben Hochman that you try to find like this weird, different type of writing to where you can be different from other writers. This relays me back to that. There was a game, I might have even said this on the show before. I'll try to find the article. I once posted an article for, I think it was for InsideSTL.com after a Blues game. It was after a Star Wars night at Scott Trade Center, and I actually wrote the article like it was a Star Wars episode, and I loved it. I thought it was one of the best things I ever wrote. I don't know if anybody else would agree, but I'll try to find that and post it if anyone's interested.
Schwartz is out, lower body injury. There's no timetable in his return. He makes $5.35 million. Gunnarsson, which just happened last night, he's out for the season with his knee. They're talking about reconstructive surgery that needs to be done. Probably $1.75 million. His Blues career likely over, I'd imagine.
I think his NHL career may be over personally.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Well, how old is he? I didn't look how old he is. He's probably close to
34, between 34 and 36, I would say at this point.
He is 34.
Yep, 34.
By the time he comes back, he will be 35.
Yeah, I mean he might try and come back. I'm sure he's not going to retire right now. He'll probably wait and see what happens.
I think best case scenario for him would be a 2-way contract somewhere, and hope he makes it. But and it's not even a fact of him not having the talent. I think he could still make an NHL roster. It's just after this surgery, and that's going to be tough to come back from.
You know what though? People are okay. So what happened to him is awful. I feel terrible for him. But strictly speaking, as far as the roster goes now, do you think the Blues are any worse because Mikkola is going to play? And really, honestly, you can make an argument for Mikkola playing instead of Gunnarsson anyway.
Right.
I think they're fine.
Yeah, I do too. But as far as Gunnarsson,
the only thing that hurts, and Bill, I want to get your opinion on this too. The only thing I think that hurts is your depth. I think overall, Mikkola is your better option. So getting him in there now, I love.
Me too.
But the thing that sucks is like if you had another injury, you would want to put Carl Gunnarsson in there,
right?
And now you don't have that option.
And you would have the option to possibly call up Perunovich, but he's done too. Yeah. He's gone.
Yep.
Yep, your depth option is Jake Wallman, and instead of skating him as your 12th forward like they did the other night, you're gonna have to stick him back then on the blue line. But Jake's a guy that's never gotten a shot to play the blue line. But after tomorrow night, that could happen. The way that injuries are just keep mounting up for this team. But I think you're right. Mikkola is definitely, I would have preferred him. Mm-hmm. I think we saw the hashtag damn it Carl sneaking back in a lot more this year than we had since the Stanley Cup run in 19. He wasn't having a great year, but man, that injury is horrific. Like just watching his skate plant to the boards and his body, just force it. Makes me sick.
Glad Krug's back because he missed a little bit. So I'm glad he's back.
I thought he was going to be out for a while.
Yeah, I did too. And then, and Paryako hopefully won't be out too long. Bortuzzo's got to be feeling pretty good about his spot in the lineup now, I guess.
Yeah,
he's pretty safe. So he'll get a lot of playing time.
I like him. I like him as the sixth defenseman.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he does
fine.
a great job.
I think he's always been fine as a sixth defenseman here. So ever since we got him from Pittsburgh, it's been good. He rightfully so. He's gotten sat to get him and Gunnarsson kind of flip flopped in and out of the lineup for a lot of past couple of years. So that was fine. But I think I'm fine with him as on the bottom pairing. Barbashev. And this also with Gunnarsson being out, likely won't have to clear any cap when Tarasenko returns. So there's that. That'll help with the salary cap. So
yeah.
Barbashev makes $1.47 million. His ankle, he'll be reevaluated in 6 weeks, which is April 6th. So that sucks. Thomas has been out, $894K. It's his thumb. He'll be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks, which will be March 21st. So he's about a month away from being reevaluated. Tarasenko, $7.5 million. It's his shoulder. He'll be reevaluated in 5 to 6 months from when he hurt it, which is February 26th, is 5 months. So he's only a few days away from being reevaluated. He's been skating with the team and practicing, so he's not too far away. It's funny how that works because you'll hear, you'll see him skating, practicing with the team, and you'll hear Berube, like you heard him say, well, he's a ways away yet. And that was like a week ago. It would not surprise me in the least. And I'm not saying I don't have any inside information. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if he gets 3 or 4 more practices in with the team and all of a sudden you hear he's starting. He's dressing in like a week or 2. It wouldn't surprise me. Just the way things go.
I agree. Yeah.
And don't forget Steen. Steen is on the injured list because he hits his back and he is out for the season. He will retire, $5.75 million. And you can toss in Prunovich, which we talked about. He's out with the shoulder, and I don't have his salary. It's less than $1 million, I think. But anyway, he's not. That's not counting against the cap right now. Anyway.
Well, you know what would have really helped out Scott Prunovich? I'm looking for an answer here.
I'm thinking probably some hydrate, maybe. Or maybe it was a cramp.
Maybe
that he had
some
that caused the
hydrate.
issue.
Could have been a cramp. You never know. Maybe if you had a little energy going into the game, like I have tonight, playing the podcast as we are. ID Life, folks. Rocking that IDLife.com. A great spot to go to for anybody looking for any kind of information on what their body needs to even get through the days, to have better workouts, to lose weight, whatever your goal is in life. RockingThatIDLife.com is the place to go to. Curt, if you wouldn't mind, I know you've got some weird technical issues going on, but if you could look up the number to text Dustin, I know you've probably got that somewhere.
I do have it. It's text. You get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745. That's 636-393-8745.
Yes, and Dustin again.
Text only.
Yeah, text only. Make sure you just text him.
Text Dustin and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you for 10% off.
Yeah, right. And let's be honest here. A lot of us, especially nowadays, it's so much easier to text than it is to call. So, for anybody who's like, oh, I don't really want to talk to somebody I don't know, make it an easy text. It's very simple. And like Curt said, excuse me, that gives you 10% off your order. And it's again, RockingThatIDLife.com, so many great products there. I personally, as I've said every week, the energy is where I go. I love drinking the energy stuff. Their tropical fruit is one of the best flavors I've ever had. It gives me a nice pick-me-up. I have 2 a day. I have one in the morning. And again, it's not that I crash afterward. It's that, after about lunchtime, 12:30, I say, oh, man, I could use another pick-me-up. And it's just, because that's how the day goes. You have a long morning, a long afternoon when you're working, your typical shifts. And I got a friend who I know has tried this before. He works construction, and he said the same thing. Me, I work at a desk. I sit here all day. Where you see me sitting right now is where I'm at all day. But I have a friend who worked construction. Same thing. He drinks him some ID Life, and guess what? He's feeling great the rest of the day until he wants one more pick-me-up to get him through the rest of his shift. And I know, Curt, you love the Hydrate, and it's great stuff. It's like a Gatorade type. It replenishes you. It gives you electrolytes. It's great to have after a workout, especially.
It's what plants crave.
It is what plants crave. That is true. Too many references to idiocracy in this show.
Got electrolytes. It's what plants crave. It is not what plants crave. Don't give it to your plants.
No. Give it to yourself. Give it to you.
Right.
But there's also great options like a sleep option. If you have trouble sleeping at night, or if you wake up in the morning and you're just feeling too groggy all the time, there's a sleep strip you just put on your tongue and you just let it melt away, and you feel great the next morning. You feel ready to go and start your day, and that's when you grab your energy and you drink that in the morning. So lots of great options with rockinthatidlife.com. Again, text Dustin at the number Curt provided, which I'm going to ask you to give that one more time, Curt.
That's 636-393-8745. 636-393-8745.
Thank you very much. And text him. And again, that's 10% off your order if you text him. But otherwise, rockinthatidlife.com and just let him know Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
Well done.
Thank you. This is all, by the way, folks, this is all like
off the cuff.
There's no script. We are going off the cuff here because of this live shit we're having.
Well,
hopefully it's flowing well.
Yeah, our interface is not allowing us to preload our pre-recorded promo spots, so we're using our voices.
So before we get into the next bit of stuff, we've got there's a lot of comments. Sorry, folks, not gonna be able to get to all of them. Races Fan Rocks 4, which we've told before. Big Eric Brewer fan. He says, I hope the NHL does more Lake Tahoe games at other lakes.
Oh, that's cool.
F117 Nighthawk. Haha, the lake game with the Avs was bad. And it was funny because I was actually out to dinner with my family, my in-laws. And that game, they played the first period, and I guess they didn't factor in the direct sunlight. So they were like, "Oh, we're going to resume this game at midnight."
Yeah. Did you notice what parts of the ice they were having problems with? It was the dark graphics. Everywhere there was a dark graphic painted underneath the ice. Those are the parts that were chipping up and getting ruts. So what it was is if the sun were it was the same temperature but overcast and no sun, it'd been fine. But that sun coming down, it's like the inside of your car. If it's cold outside but it's sunny outside, the inside of your car gets warm, right? Sun goes in, the sun hits that dark color and it gets warm and it destroys the ice right above it. Lesson learned for future outdoor games: don't use dark graphics on the ice. Even use ice blue. Why? Even on the red face-off circles and the center red line, use ice blue color as opposed to red.
Other than your lines you need for teams to be able to read and see, obviously, for being on the rink. At this point in 2021, why was that not? And maybe we'll see the change here, but why was that not just generated for the TV audience?
Right.
It's a good question.
Right, the superimposed graphic. Right. The Blues are using it left and right now.
Maybe the sunlight
been outdoors forever.
Maybe the sunlight has something to do with it. Although they use that kind of stuff in the NFL on fields.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see that from now on. I think they're going to start superimposing that. Maybe once you get fans back in the stands for Winter Classics, you'll see a change. But if they do this again next year with limited fan access, I don't think you'll see that.
Even the face-off dots, though, that red, even those were having issues. So I'm thinking that outdoor rinks should probably have like I said, like an ice blue color, so it wouldn't absorb the sun like the darker colors do. I know.
I'll admit, obviously we all use the lines for offside and stuff, but if that's a blue line, I don't think that's
no. Who cares?
I don't think that's an issue.
No, blue or like an orange or orange would probably be too warm. Blue blue is a cool color, so it's not going to absorb the heat like that. A lighter ice blue, be perfect. My take. That's what I would do. And I'm pouring a second beer here. I'm going with the Four Hands chocolate milk stout.
Puck Guy 14, your second beer? I'm on my fourth.
Well, you know what? I've had a lot of stress here with this, and I've.
But that's why you should have more beer.
Well, I'm working on it.
I want you to have 5 by the end of the show, and we're.
You know what's funny?
That...
You know what's funny? You said you're on your 4th beer. In post production, when I edit this show, when we do the individual recordings, and I can hear just your voice, for example, on your track, right? So I'll be listening, and all of a sudden I'll go through and I'll take out any kind of like clicks or hisses or any like putting the beer down on the table. I'll wipe that out so you can't hear it. It's fantastic flexibility that I have with individual tracks. But when I'll hear every one of your beer can openings, your I'll see a spike. What's that? And I'm like, it's one of the beer. I'm like, man, he's on his 4th or 5th beer in this show. So I know how much you're drinking.
I'll see exactly. You can count. Oh, Ponder had 7 beers in that show.
That's so funny. Because I sent you that out of context, Ponder, that recorded audio file. Where just
that's a funny thing. For anyone interested, we record separately, each of us. That way, it just provides better audio quality for the podcast. And Curt will go in and splice them together, and every now and then, you'll just, there'll be silence on one of them, and you'll just hear, yeah, that's right. And it's
coconut cream pie.
Like, yeah, it's like, what the hell is going on there?
Right. Anyway, the 3-0 loss to LA last night. Sammy Blais was back in the lineup after missing a game due to a false positive COVID test. In the first period, the Kings score to go up 1-0. Velarde scores for LA. He stood on the back door during a goal mouth scramble. Nobody ever looked at him or took him. And as much as everyone loves O'Reilly, I love O'Reilly, fantastic player. I thought he missed his assignment here. He's covering the top of the crease, and Velarde's behind him, and he doesn't take him. And the puck squirts free to him on a goal mouth scramble after like 3 saves by Bennington, who played great in that series. And it squirts over to him. It's a 50-50 puck between O'Reilly and him, and O'Reilly lost it, and the puck went in the net. So I thought that was a unfortunate, because Bennington played so well in that series there, in the stops he made, and then to just let that guy just hang out there, because he skated down and he stopped and no one picked him up. He was there for a good 3 or 4 seconds before the puck came to him.
And not just the fact that it was a bunch of saves by Bennington in that series. He had an unbelievable first period.
Yeah.
What do you face? 12 shots in that first period? Something like that.
12 shots. Yep.
12 or 13. And I mean, he was great. And we've talked to him before about, there's been games where he's, stepped up and, he played great to start the period, but it was clear he was fighting the puck. He was, rebounds were shooting out. I don't feel like that was the case at all in this period. Before this goal, and even, to be honest, even after this goal, I thought he played a perfect first period. He played fantastic. So to see a goal go in after a series like that, and after the way he played before that goal, was just so heartbreaking, because he deserved better. And it was just like you said, one guy being wide open as he skates to the net. And we on this show, we try to like pinpoint, okay, this could have been done better, this could have been differently. I don't really point at one person. I know O'Reilly was closest to him. I don't really pinpoint one person here that should have been on him. I just think as a team, somebody needed to pick him up, and it just didn't happen.
Well, I picked O'Reilly because I thought it was his guy, because he comes in and he's not covering anybody at the top of the crease. He's like trying to block a pass across, and instead, there's no one there to cover. If he just backs off and takes Velarde, there's no play there. There's no goal.
But I think at the same time, he's trying to think of like, if there's a rebound, I'm here to clear it out. Or
I know, but there's 2 defensemen. There's 2 defensemen right there to his left. They've got that area. There was nobody on the other side. I think that's what he should have done. But Obviously, you can play it in different ways, and that's the way I think he should have played it.
Yeah, and I think O'Reilly's had a couple of games in a row where he's had busted coverage down around the crease area. I think last game of the Arizona series, he got caught down below the goal line when he should have been out high, and they had an easy low slat, high danger scoring chance. So not. I think we're getting to the point where the Blues. Offense is so diluted, we're starting to see players try to do a little too much. And I certainly think that was the case with the second goal that the Kings scored.
Yeah. And every
a segue.
When you're not scoring, and when you got players out of lineup, you're not scoring and producing as well, you're not playing as well as you should. When stuff like this happens and you lose a game 2-0, 3-0, every goal against is like overanalyzed. If we score 6 goals in this game and win 6-2 without the Kings getting into the netter, we don't spend much time on this goal at all. But it's a big deal because it's pushed to the front as far as being a big deal because we're not scoring.
Well, and that was my point with the Coyotes game last week was, the 1-0 loss. It was, we don't even, we talk about this goal in the show, but we're not breaking it down like we were. Same here. Like, we're going to talk about the next goal here that they made it 2-0 Kings. but we don't even need to mention that. All we need to talk about is the fact there was 1 goal scored and the Blues lost. Right. If the Blues score a goal, again, we mention this goal and we move on. But the fact that they didn't score a goal on Jonathan Quick throughout the night, it's listen, we'll talk more about this, I'm sure. Quick had a great game, and I thought the Kings played a really good game too. I thought in the first period especially, even though the Blues only had 6 or 7 shots, I thought most of them were quality chances, and Quick played great. But it was the fact of you've got to find a way to put the puck in the net. And if they don't, and they lose 1-0, 3-0, 8-0, 12-0, who cares? You didn't score a goal. So it doesn't matter how many goals they put up. You put up none. Yeah.
And this next goal is and the thing is, if you're not scoring goals, then these little mistakes are turned into big mistakes. Which and we just talked about that. The players are trying to do too much at times, and this was but this play in particular, and I think it's because of who did it, is why it's a bigger deal than if someone else had done this. If Shen had passed it back to Falk. So anyway, Sanford, the Kings score again. Dustin Brown, Blues fans' favorite Kings player, scored for the Kings. Sanford had the puck on his stick on the far boards in the blue zone with nobody really on him. There were 2 Kings in the vicinity, but they were peeling away. They were peeling off of him because he got the puck first, and they were succumbing possession in the zone. They were giving it up and looked like they were maybe even go for a change. But Sanford inexplicably passes it to Falk, who's like 6-7 feet from him, way too hard. And Falk wasn't expecting it, and it skips right by Falk and goes to a Kings player who's well behind Falk, about 10 feet behind him, below the faceoff dot. And it's like, what are you doing? Why would you? He's got the puck. He can easily flip it out or just stop and turn and do whatever he wants with it, because the Kings players, it's a horrible example of poor situational awareness by Sanford. He just didn't know what was going on, and I don't know if he panicked and got rid of the puck because he thought a guy was on him when there wasn't, or what. It had to be the case, but it was. And then, of course, Brown, and I thought Shen played down low, because Shen's kind of going towards the blue line because he thinks the puck's coming out, and it gets turned over, so he peels back, and then I think it's him and Scandella, or him and Krug are back, and Shen tries to get back into the play to block Dustin Brown from coming in front. And I think he's thinking Brown's going to pass. I thought he played this terrible. He gave Brown way too much space to go around him, and then Brown cuts in front and then shoots, and was shooting a shot out wide, and it goes off Krug's skate, who was trying to play in between Brown and Kopitar, because he's got to guard against the pass and give Bennington the shooter, which is a good play. But I mean, Brown's walking in front. So Krug kind of stops and it goes off his skating in. So really shitty play all around. I thought just a bad look.
I agree. But again, I will say what I said earlier about the Kings having a good game. And this was their fourth win in a row. So they're playing good hockey. Fifth. Fifth win in a row. I mean, they're playing great hockey right now. I thought that, again, yes, he was given a gift, Dustin Brown. But I thought overall, that was a great play by Dustin Brown. Great awareness, to look at the pass and then say, I'm just going to throw this on net and see what happens. Great play by Dustin Brown all around. But, yes, I will say, bad play by Sanford. I don't know if it was that he got nervous that there was someone on him. I think he thought that Sundqvist that was skating up ice. I think he thought, I'm going to send this to Falk. Falk's going to give a perfect pass to Sundqvist, and he's going to have a one-on-one or a two-on-one, depending on, I don't remember where the other player was. But I think he thought, give this to Falk, let Falk, because he's facing the right way. He's going to give a great pass up to Sundqvist, and we got a scoring chance. We can make a change, whatever. But obviously, like you said, bad pass. What are you doing kind of play. Falk wasn't expecting it. Like you said, I'm all for if you've got the puck in your zone, especially in the second period with the long change, just loft it out. Get it out of the zone. Even if you're giving up possession again back to the Kings, get the puck out of the zone, do the smart play, and regroup. Doing what he did was a terrible, terrible call, and just bad all around. And Krug, maybe he didn't play it right, but again, I'll give Dustin Brown, the veteran,
Krug
benefit of the doubt.
I thought Krug was fine. I thought Schenn played it bad down low.
Schenn, sorry.
Yeah.
Schenn. I thought Dustin Brown made a great play there. He looked off the pass and then made a good shot on net.
I thought it was a
great play.
I thought Brown made a real nice play with what Schenn gave him, but Schenn gave him way too much space. I thought that, but kudos to Brown for working in front. Granted, Brown's shot was going wide, and it went off Krug skating in. So,
right,
bad luck at the end there. Bad play, bad luck. Pucks in the net. So Brown scores again in this game, and the empty net goal. So I didn't, and we peppered Quick in the third. I thought we looked real good in the third. I mean, pressured, got some great chances, and I think third period, keeping us off the boards. I really thought we were going to score in this game with the way we were pressuring. I thought a goal was coming. I thought, okay, if we can get one, you know how it goes. You get one, and then you get fired up, and the other one sometimes comes, before the period's over. So, but it didn't happen. Quick was good. Quick was real good in this game. What year is it, right? He was pitching a shutout.
That I was going to say that. I had hockey games last night. I had to watch this game today. I didn't get to watch it last night at all. And that was after the game. My game ended. We saw the score, and I said, man, 3-0 Kings. And, Quick with the shutout. And one of my teammates goes, yeah, I guess, was it Marian Gaborik and Slava Voinov had the big goals, huh? And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how it feels, isn't it?
Yeah. I just, with 31 shots on goal, I mean, that you think, oh, we peppered him, and we did in the third period. But up until the third, we had some good chances here and there, first period, but I didn't see the urgency. I saw the same kind of frustrating team that doesn't really have an identity to me right now that I've been seeing.
I want to get Bill's take on this game. We haven't heard from him a little bit because Curt and I have been just hogging the microphone. But I will add real quick what Ben Hochman said when we started this show. I thought the fourth line was fantastic. I know Curt or Bill, one of you mentioned recently that McEachern hasn't had a good season. I thought this was his best game. I thought he looked fantastic. Della Rose has been great since he's come off the taxi squad. I think that Paganski's looked fine. They're getting their chances, but like Hochman said, you can't have your fourth line be one of your best lines and get most of your scoring chances. And in that first period, I'm sorry, it wasn't Pagansky on that line. It was Clifford. They looked great. They had multiple chances where either Quick stopped them or the Kings defense took control. But I thought overall that fourth line was great all night. I want to see them together again tomorrow night.
So which one's our fourth line? It's hard to tell. I mean, is it the line with Kyle Clifford or is it the line with Austin Pagansky?
I think we have two fourth lines right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the problem with this team, the offense is so diluted, right? You have to have, pretty much everybody crammed on your top line and a half, really. And it makes it tough for scoring. If you don't score early, you're going to get frustrated. And I think that's kind of what happened with the Blues last night. They had some really great opportunities, and Quick shut them down. And, I think got into, their heads a little bit. I did not get to catch the third period, had to deal with some family stuff going on. But I knew after that first period, I knew Quick wasn't going to give up a goal. It had that feel of a game to me. And after seeing the terrible turnover by Sanford, I knew what the outcome of the game was going to be. There was not going to be a miracle comeback in this game. And yeah, it is great as the fourth line, third line, whatever, the Della Rose grouping, as great as they were, they don't score goals, right? And that's not what they're known for. If that's what you're calling out after the game, that your fourth line was your best line in a shutout, you're struggling. And that's the only thing we can say about this team right now. They're struggling. And granted, yes, there are injuries that, the injuries have really taken the toll on this team. And there's no getting around that, but God, it's just some frustrating hockey to watch.
It's hard to evaluate this. I mean, doing a show like this and analyzing and evaluating the team, it's hard to evaluate this team and how good they're going to be. Like Hochman said, and I agree with him completely that he's optimistic about a healthy Blues team. And I am too, but this team right now, it doesn't look good because of all the guys out and a lot of question marks and a couple of guys have been out for a while. So, but right now this team is hard to evaluate. And so I try to really temper my frustrations and my anger about the way the team plays and everything. But then again, they were inconsistent when they were healthy or when they were relatively healthy, So they have not played great hockey by any means consistently this year yet, even when they were relatively healthy with Tarasenko out still. But
right. And I mean, just think about it. Where are we in terms of the season, right? We're just at the, is it just past quarter or are we
what the third?
Or 1/3?
Yep.
Right. So this is basically, we've gone through, in a typical season, what would be the doldrums around Thanksgiving, that, where just uninspired, boring hockey is played. And now we're more getting towards, Christmas. And if the team can get a little bit healthier, I'm not going to say that they're going to go on a magic run. They don't have to. They're not that far down in the standings like they were in 19. But it's just we're at the point in the season where you'd like to see some kind of cohesiveness start to come together. And so I don't know. Maybe Bortuzzo. I know he's listening. Maybe kick the shit out of Sanford sometime in the next week.
Yeah.
Do us all a favor.
Wait until we get healthy so we can actually have a team that is capable of going on a nice run. But
real quick comments on the show. F117 Nighthawk, who's become a very loyal listener, and we appreciate it. Ponder gets me. I didn't watch live, but I watched after knowing the outcome. Yeah, it's funny because I saw the outcome and I said, God damn it, I'm gonna have to suffer through this tomorrow. and I was not happy about it. And I tell myself I do it for the show, but I did the same thing before we started doing this show in 2011. So I'm always going to put myself through the misery of watching Blues games, even after knowing they got their asses kicked.
This loss wouldn't have bothered me as much if we had won Saturday against San Jose. Obviously, but because it wouldn't be 2 in a row, and if we can beat LA in the second game, we'll have won 3 out of 4, whatever it is. So, the loss on Saturday to San Jose, which I'm not going to talk about much, but I was at Center Ice for that game, Center Ice Brewery. But that was frustrating because they played well after they got down again. They just couldn't get over the hump there at the end. So when they tied at 4-4, I thought we're winning this game. We're gonna win this game, and just that didn't happen. So the clown jerseys. I think I have a reason why things are going down the way they are. It's the curse.
Oh boy,
the curse of the clown jersey. Right? Hear me out. So I put this on Twitter earlier today. 1995-98 was the birth of the original clown jersey. So that was the Keenan era. Kyprios dives on Fuhr's knee. The Gretzky fiasco happened. The Yzerman goal happened, which is the same thing. Tying with Gretzky. Disappointment was the tone for that. Disappointment, frustration, confusion with Blues fans as far as how Keenan was running things. They gave him complete control over the team, head coach and GM. And while he wheeled and dealed.
And let's add real quick here too. That was the end of the Brett Hull era.
Hull was
1998.
Here. No, Hull was here for the New Jerseys.
Yeah, he was here when they revealed the New Jerseys, but he didn't play a full season in the New Jerseys.
He played didn't he? He played 98-99, didn't he?
98-99, he was with the wasn't he with the Stars?
I thought he played a season with the New Jerseys.
No, they revealed them, and he played a couple games with them because they basically used him as thirds, but he did not play. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they did reveal them, and that's right. They revealed him as thirds, didn't they? That season prior to going full time.
98-99, he was a Dallas Star.
I knew that, but I remember him in in the New Jersey, and I forgot that they used it as a third.
I remember
jersey.
They did a photo shoot with him in the New Jersey, but he was gone when the New Jersey was really used as the New Jersey,
as the as the main jersey, right?
Yeah. So Brett Hull, technically, his last days with the Blues were in the clown jersey.
Well, that's even worse.
Yeah.
And then 2019-20 last year they brought back the clowns as the retro jerseys, and the world had a pandemic. Tarasenko re-injured his shoulder, and we flopped in the playoffs. Disappointment again. And then this year they unveiled the reverse retros, going to the well again, third time. Pietrangelo leaves. Fans are annoyed at the jersey itself. Team has no identity. Massive injury issues. Disappointment so far with the team this season. Inconsistency. So it's the curse of the clown jerseys. Is there going to be another iteration of this jersey in the future? Hope not.
So
no.
somebody
no.
said, I'm trying to find it in the chat, and unfortunately I can't. Somebody said that at first it might have been Puck Guy 14 that there it is. So I saw the reverse retro jerseys, and they're as bad as I thought. The regular retro jerseys aren't that bad. And it's funny, we actually kind of talked about that last season, especially after the first game they wore them. It was actually kind of fun, even though we hate those jerseys, to relive seeing those jerseys, and to see them in HD was interesting. And I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. Even the second time they played, I was like, yeah, those jerseys are hideous, but it's kind of fun to see them. These reverse retros, I tried again today when I rewatched the game last night. I tried. I said, just keep it on, watch it. I couldn't watch it. I had to turn down the color again and watch it in black and white. I couldn't take it. They're so hard to look at.
Bernie Federico and I share the same opinion, because when they came out with the retro jerseys last season, not the reverse retros, but the retros last season, Federico, the first game, in between periods, he was like, yeah, or after the game, the first game they wore him, he goes, yeah, these jerseys they're okay, they're kind of fun for a couple games, but that's it, no more. And we talked about that at the time. It's like, oh wow, it's like I'm thinking I see Tikkanen out there. Number 10 is Tikkanen. That's Tikkanen to me in that jersey. So yeah, that was kind of neat to see, all of a sudden see those jerseys, those players, those numbers, and then think, oh my gosh, that's Richer, or that's Tikkanen, or whoever, right? So
yeah, but these ones, there's no fun for me.
No,
and listen, there are people that like it. My wife is one of them, which I chastise her for all the time. But I just don't. I think so many people. I really think it's an outweighed by more people hate them than like them. I think they're hideous.
Yeah,
they're hard to look at.
I don't know what you're gonna do. Just I hope they don't do it again.
Yeah.
Go back to our preseason show where we ranked them. They were very bottom for most of us.
Oh God, I've seen some reviews where people put those in the top tier of good jerseys, good reverse retros. I'm like, what do you? I mean, okay, you know what? If individual fan here or there likes them, that's fine. I mean, whatever, it's gonna happen. People like different things. But this guy is like does writes stuff and does a podcast and things, and I'm like, okay, so you're saying that you're trying to imply at least your opinion carries some weight, right? Or at least to some degree, people may want to listen to you for some reason. So and he puts this jersey in the top. I'm like, okay, all credibility shot with you. It's just
I think it's funny. I think it was Game Time that posted an article last night that was like the Blues sure looked bad last night. Oh, and the game didn't go well either.
Yeah. Anyway, we have a new sponsor. Center Ice Brewery in St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, Midtown St. Louis. Yeah. I like I said, I was there on Saturday for the Blues and Sharks game. The game outcome wasn't great, but again, the atmosphere in that place is fantastic. We've all been there a number of times. Many times, sampled many of their beers. We've ordered beer, taken it home, drank there, watched games there. Brody, one of the previous employees that just left to go back to school, he stopped in and had some beer, and he was blowing the horn. The what's it called? The vuvuzela thing. How do you pronounce that, Bill? Vuvuzela. Yeah, he was blowing that after some Blues goals. So that was pretty cool. That was fun. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. Amy and I went there, but you guys bailed. You didn't go. So whatever. You missed a good time.
I didn't really bail. I never really said I was going to go.
No, you bailed.
Right. We didn't cave to pressure is what we didn't do.
Right.
That's exactly what it was.
Whatever. But centericeBrewery.com, they've got touchless or no contact, I guess I should say. No contact curbside pickup. You can, and if you do want to go there, they recommend that you make a reservation. So people show up and they don't, because there was about 6 people that showed up while we were there, and the place was, well, it wasn't, okay, it was full to capacity as far as what they were allowing in, right? So I think a group of like 6 came in, and they'd turn them away, even though the place wasn't even half full. They had chairs spread out and everything, but they came in, they didn't have a reservation. So if you want to go there, go on the website, you can make a reservation, pick a time slot, and go and hang out to make sure you get some seats. You can show up without a reservation, but if there's no seats, you're not going to get a seat. So there's that. So good, great place, good beer. I said I had the lime. Was it a lime sherbet? I told you guys about it, right?
Yeah, lime sherbet goose.
Yeah, that was a sour. Yeah, is that the same thing? Sour goes. It was.
Yeah, it's not the exact same thing.
Okay, well they call it a sour, but it was. That tasted like sweet tarts. I'm not a sour beer fan normally, but Amy got one, and I said, "Oh, I don't try it." So I tried it. I'm like, "Wow, this is really good. It tastes like a sweet tart." It didn't taste like beer at all. It tasted like a sweet tart. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. So if you go there, try the lime sherbet sour. It's pretty good. If you like sweet tarts.
And I'll add too the Nash Year's Eve, which I think they still have some left. I was there. We mentioned it on. Yeah, it's a champagne beer.
Yeah,
and it's so good. I've had it before.
It's not like High Life,
but this
champagne beers.
No, but no, it's so good and it's so rich and you can taste the champagne in it. So my in-laws are they're not big, they don't venture out, let's say, of their typical beer they get, which is Michelob Ultra, which whatever, fine beer, but not my thing. I brought a growler of the Nash Year's Eve for New Year's Eve. We went over there. And they loved it. That thing was gone in 20 minutes. So, again, if you've never had a good champagne beer, go and try the Nash Year's Eve. It is so good. I loved it. It was fantastic. I need to go get more.
They have a barrel-aged stout right now, and I had that too. My last beer of the evening was that, and I wanted to try that, and it was really good. So they do a good job over there. So check their hours are different because of COVID, obviously. So make sure you check the website, make sure they're open, and head over. And like I said, curbside pickup too. You just call ahead and you let them know, and they come out and bring it to your car. It's good stuff. And also while you're there, look for our stickers that they are selling. Our Stag Beer Blues mashup parody stickers that they're selling that we created. It's also available on our website, letsgoblues.com. Along with, and I think they said they're going to put it on their website as well to sell. So you can get that at a few different places.
And again, we've said this before. This is, we have talked about them for years on this show without them being an official sponsor for a reason. They are fantastic. Their beer is great. Their customer service is fantastic. Their bartenders are some of the most fun people to be around. And it's just a great place to hang out. Again, post-pandemic, hopefully we're talking about that soon. Get a giant group there. Go watch a Blues game. It is some of the most fun you'll have. They got bubble hockey, everything. It's so much fun. It's a great spot.
What? You ever go to like a Buffalo Wild Wings and watch a game, or a big, huge conglomerate like a sports bar place, and you talk to a waitress or a bartender, and you quickly realize that they don't know sports at all. It's just like they're just hired to work and they don't care about the sports necessarily.
Yep.
The employees at Center Ice, you can talk hockey with the employees at Center Ice. So that's an option for you. They know their stuff too.
In fact, they typically bring it up with me. I mean, obviously Brody, you mentioned Brody, he's not there anymore, but every time I come in, Brody would say, "How about that game last night?" And it wasn't just the score was 2-1 and Braden Shen scored. Like,
what channel's the game on? I don't know.
Yeah, it was full on hockey conversation with Brody every time, and I've had it with the same. I'm sorry, I'm drawing blanks on names of other bartenders, but has same conversations with them as well. So great stuff. Loved Center Ice Brewery, one of the best places in St. Louis to go to watch a hockey game.
Yep, and I know back before the pandemic, and I think after the pandemic, I'm not sure if they're doing it now. But I know when the pandemic is over, or when they resume normality a little bit, I assume they'll resume the shuttle they ran, which is a fantastic way to go to the Blues games. You park at Center Ice for free, get a beer, you go inside, you get a beer, you got to get a beer first, have a beer, hang out for a bit, and then jump on the shuttle, and it takes you over to Enterprise. And then after the game, you jump on the shuttle, the Stanley Shuttle, yeah.
Stanley Shuttle. Yep.
Yeah, after the game, jump on the shuttle, comes back, hang out for a bit more if you want, have another beer, then go home. It's free parking. Save $20, $25, whatever you got to pay. That's pretty fantastic. It's a best way to park and go to the game, I think. Are the Blues in trouble, guys? I mean, we kind of danced around the idea of whether they are or they're not, but I mean, 19 games played. It's the 1/3 mark. 4-5-2 at home, 4-5-1, so under 500 last 10 games. 4th in division in point percentage. Kings aren't that far behind us. So next game is kind of a big deal. $33 million in injuries, inconsistent play, special teams are a mess. Identity, does the team have one? I don't think so right now. Are they in trouble?
They're certainly not flourishing right now. I think that they're going to have to find a way to eke out some wins in the very near future. This is the toughest stretch that we've had to watch through in a couple of years. Does it portend bad things for the rest of the season? If we can start getting healthy, probably not. A third of the way, doesn't write your story, as we found out in 19. But you're not going to get a miracle like that every year. So find a way to eke out some of these wins. Find a way to beat it, Jonathan Quick. Find a way to beat the Sharks in that 4-4 game. Don't let it go to the shootout. Right. Yeah, they're hurting, but we're not talking nails in the coffin just yet.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of, we've talked about the injury issues, you expect, and I know some people were saying online, like, it's hard to judge, it's hard to really get pissed at this point because they've got so many injuries, but at the same time, you expect your depth to be NHL quality, right? Like, you want these guys to be able to come in and compete. And right now, we're just not seeing that from a lot of these players. And so you do have to question, is this team ready for the big time? These younger guys that are stepping in outside of Kyrou, can they come in and play big minutes when you need them to? And right now, the answer is no, they're not. We're not seeing goal support. We're not seeing defensive play. Binnington, I think, has played great. And Husso has played very well the couple starts he's gotten since he got his first win. But I think the issue that I'm seeing is, honestly, and Curt, we kind of talked about this last week. I know you differ on how Bill and I feel with the power play. At this point, I'm willing to say this power play is never going to improve. So we have to see 5-on-5 goals. You have to be able to put the puck in the net and convert on your chances. And right now, we're not seeing that at all. The 5-on-5 play is just not there. I mean, I still think they're having great pressure in the zone, and they're causing a lot of turnovers from the opposing teams, but they're not capitalizing on those turnovers. They're not capitalizing on their chances. And, the fact that one goal is beating you, again, yes, it was a 3-0 game last night, but the Kings didn't need those other 2 goals. They just needed the one. So you add one goal when it matters in that game, and guess what? We're talking about a 1-1 game going into the second or third period, whatever it is, and it's a completely different landscape that we're seeing. So are the Blues in trouble? Yes. I mean, in a shortened season, yes, they're in trouble. They have to figure this out. We have to see 5-on-5 goals. We have to see, the penalty kills improved a bit, but I mean, they got to figure this out. We got to see Berube style hockey. They've built this roster, I think, around a Berube style, and we're just not seeing it right now.
I think this roster as we speak, and like Hochman said earlier, and this roster as it is right now is in trouble. Is the roster in trouble that we get when we're healthy? No, I don't think so. But I mean, where are we going to be when we're healthy? Do we just need to tread water until then? Because right now we're 4th in win percentage, and the Kings are not far behind us. So if we lose to the Kings tomorrow, then we've lost 3 in a row, and the Kings are right there with us, and we're in danger of falling to 5th in winning percentage, which if we don't finish the season, it's going to come down to winning percentage if COVID stops the season early. So, and you want to get up there in win percentage. And right now we're 4th.
And Curt, not to interrupt you because I want you to finish your thought here. But the fact that you just said, you lose tomorrow, you got 3 losses in a row. You're not losing to the Avalanche and the Knights and even the Coyotes who've given the Blues fits. You're losing to the Sharks, who are at the bottom of the division. And yes, the Kings are playing great hockey right now, but they're not Stanley Cup hopefuls. The Blues are.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
The Kings are not supposed to be a playoff team. And in a shortened season in these series, you need to get these points. You don't have to win them all, but you should be winning 3 out of every 4 of these games, give or take. Pretty much, and they're not. They're barely. What I don't know what the record is against San Jose and LA, but it's and the bottom teams, it's just not as good as it should be. They're not playing as well. They let the Sharks get 3 out of 4 points against them over the weekend.
You can't let that happen.
It's no disrespect against San Jose. I just they're not as good. Their expectations this year not anywhere close to what the Blues are, and the Blues need to be better against those teams. That's just the way it is. And I don't care who it is. As long as those types of teams you have to beat. It's because, like you said, they're not Colorado. They're not Vegas. And you're going to have trouble getting points against those. Those are hard-fought points. And if you're having hard-fought points against San Jose and LA, and you're breaking even against them at best, what are we doing? So,
well, you mentioned their records against these 2 teams. The Kings 1-2, 7 goals for, 11 goals against, which the Kings are not known for scoring goals, so that's an issue. Sharks, they're 2-1-1, 13 goals for, 13 goals against. You got to improve those numbers. You got to be better against those teams.
Yep. So let's pretend Berube and the Blues did not win the Cup in 2019. Okay. Would people be saying, and it's a hypothetical what if, because we did win the Cup. It makes a difference. But if we didn't, would people be saying right now that he's on the hot seat? Because of last season, had a good regular season last season, but then flopped in the bubble, flopped in the playoffs. All right. And then this season, not up to expectations. Granted, there are injury issues. I'm not asking if he's going to be fired this season, but there would be talk and there would be rumblings amongst fans. You don't hear anything about Berube's job right now. Nothing, right? From anybody. Not even the most pessimistic Blues fans on social media. They're not saying, "Oh, fire Berube."
I beg to differ.
Really? I did see
a couple comments last night.
I don't. Okay, that has to be the minority. But it
is the minority.
There would be a lot of it if we hadn't won the Cup. I think based on the way the team's played now and the playoffs and bubble last season, about how the team is not responding to Berube anymore, all that stuff.
Yeah, the shortened season, that just with the craziness of everything that's gone on, you don't change coaches, especially a guy that delivered you your first championship. Maybe, what this does is it burns out, a year of his contract, and maybe it's like, well, we're not going to re-up you at the end of it, but it's not something that this season, especially with the injuries, you're not going to say, what I think what this team needs to turn around is a guy to come in, because the guy that's going to come in and kick this team in the ass is the guy that's already there, right? And if the team won't respond to him, maybe it's the fact that you're playing too decimated. But if there's any talk of that, I think it's way too premature. You don't fire a guy in a season like this. You don't fire a Berube. Maybe you fire a Jeff Blashill in Detroit, but you don't fire a Craig Berube in a shit season like this.
Puckeye 14 YouTube chat just posted a smiley face. That's all he said. And it makes Puckeye 14 is Eric from the Teal Town USA podcast. Fine job over there that they do. Friends of the show. Do we propose with the shape the Blues are in now? Do we propose something with them next game? We talked about it before. About a wager of sorts, a logo on the screen during the show kind of a thing.
I am all for wagers with another podcast. So
Sure.
yes, whatever you guys want to do, let's do it.
So
I will. How about this? Let's talk about this, Eric. I will wear a San Jose Sharks. I will paint it on my head. I will put a logo on my head of the San Jose Sharks or Teal Town, USA. But one of your people has to agree to do the same thing if the Blues win next, or the Sharks, obviously.
Man,
there you go. There's one.
I was gonna go something simple with like a logo on the screen, like a Stanley Cup champion
I'm going,
Blues logo.
I'm going with I will have my sister, who is an artist, paint it on my forehead for the next show,
or something about the hand pass. Oh yeah, funny.
That'd be good. I like that.
He says, "Let's go." Okay, we'll work it out. We'll do. I mean, we'll talk on Twitter or something, and we'll figure it out. So next Blues and Sharks matchup, we'll have something on the books as far as a little friendly wager goes. That'd be fun.
In terms of Berube's job, I know the hypothetical is, if they don't win the Cup in 2019. But to be honest, if they don't win the Cup in 19, I don't think he's still here.
I think
so.
I think it depends how the playoffs worked out. I think if he goes 2 rounds or so, I think he's here. Don't you?
Yeah, maybe. But I think his leash would have been shorter. I think
maybe
at the end of the bubble we have this conversation.
Maybe, but he had such a good regular season though before the bubble.
Yeah,
first in the West. So I mean,
maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I would think right now with the injury, we saw the same thing. If you remember back to the Davis Payne short era here, he had an injury-plagued season, and they let him play it out until the next year, until they decided to bring in Ken Hitchcock. I almost called him Hen Hitchcock.
Hen Hitchcock.
Hen Hitchcock.
Hen Hitchcock.
But until they brought in Hitchcock, I think that they were like, let's see what Davis can do. And obviously they made the call then. But I think it would have been the same thing here. I think we would have seen the Blues decide, hey, we can give him a go. Let's see how he does. And if another coach becomes available, we'll see. But I'm with Bill. I think in a season like this, I don't think you see. I mean, we haven't had any coaching changes yet, right? Not at all.
No.
And I think it'd been the same thing here. I don't think we would have seen Berube let go either. And even maybe at the end of the season you have that discussion, but right now I don't think so.
Up next for the Blues tomorrow night versus LA, NBCSN will be using John Kelly and Darren Pang on their Blues broadcast Wednesday night. So that'll be fun. Anything else, guys, before we wrap the show up?
No,
again,
just looking
big
forward
thanks
to not having to do the VPN for tomorrow night's game. It's going to be great.
A big thanks again goes out to Ben Hochman. If you want to follow him on Twitter, Hochman is his. It's just Hochman, his last name. Obviously, check him out over at stltoday.com and check out his 10 Hochman every day at 10 a.m. Central Time. Ben does a great job. Very much fun having him on. And again, somebody I missed in the press box in my days. Great catching up with him, and wish him only the best. So again, Ben, if you're still listening or if you're listening tomorrow, thanks again for coming on. It was great having you.
Puckeye14 says, I'll rock a Blues jersey if they win. So you're painting a Sharks jersey on your forehead or on your face or wherever if the Sharks win. And Eric's going to rock a Blues jersey on their show if we win.
That's not the deal. No, that's not the deal.
I think it's fair.
No, it's not fair. Well, he has to paint a Blues jersey on his forehead. A Blues logo.
I think you came up with that. He never agreed to that.
Well, if you didn't agree with that's fine. I'll just wear a Sharks jersey. I'm cool with that.
Okay. I was just fine with logos on the screen. I wasn't asking anybody to deface their body.
I'm willing to go as crazy as Eric or AJ or whoever wants to go.
Okay. So as of right now, unless it gets negotiated upwards, as of right now, it's jerseys. Unless we work out something a little more dramatic.
See, my buddy has a jersey. My buddy has a Sharks jersey, so I could wear that. I don't know about him. Eric, do you have access to a Blues jersey?
He says he has. I mean, he has a rock one, so I guess. We'll work it out. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's blow-the-waist grooming. products. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745. And in my radio voice, it's 636-393-8745. And tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their awesome tap room. While you're there and enjoying a number of their fantastic beers, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game. That's centericebrewery.com. Please drink responsibly. That'll wrap up episode 24 of Season 9 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
And I'm not going to sing the exit song because I can't change the stage because of the
St.
interface.
Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues.
Have you
Have you heard the news about